And we're live. This is fun. No one's going to edit this. Sean, don't mess up.
Oh, my Lord. I already have choice words that came to my mind right away. And I'm like, oh, no, stop.
Yeah. Sean's about ready to drop some profanity.
I consider that knowledge, Tom.
Knowledge. Yes. Colorful knowledge coming from Sean.
Colorful commentary. So it's like, NFL analysts kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something a little bit different and some changes happen, but the show must go on. So it was a change of venue. This is part of the PitchIT series. Now, me and Sean have referenced PitchIT on Business Technology in some of the interviews. We've interviewed some of the people, but this is the PitchIT live event where we're going to put a couple people from a similar category essentially on here. Now, this is not a sponsored event. This is just, change of venue. I'm hosting it here on Business Technology. Sean's bringing the people on here. He's got some interview questions. I'm interested because, we're doing it all live, so we get to learn about it in real time. So there is links right down below in the description to what PitchIT is, in case you didn't already know. But we've talked about it, like I said, a couple times. It's a pretty cool event where ConnectWise is going to, make a Shark Tank style competition for some software vendors and SaaS vendors that are in our IT MSP space. So this is really cool.
Yes, it is, Tom. I'm assuming that was a question even for me to lead on to. So let's talk a little about what PitchIT is.
Yes.
Yes. So PitchIT itself, as you mentioned, is a Shark Tank concept ultimately, but long before the Shark Tank concept happens, we have 18 vendors, startup vendors that actually applied. Well, we had more than that applied, actually. We accepted 18 of them that are actually going through a 16-week Accelerator Program. The Accelerator Program consists of various coaches that are there week to week doing workshops that are all coaches with backgrounds in a specific talent or discipline that helps people to grow their businesses, whether it's mergers and acquisitions, sales and marketing, integrations, whatever it may be. So all the teams have been going through this. We're over the halfway point of the 16-week Accelerator Program, but at the end of it, which is the end of August, will be the end of the program itself. There's going to be a judging that's going to take place, and we're going to select 3 finalists. Those three finalists are then going to be moved on to with head coaches, which are the last 3-year winners, which you and I already interviewed them all: Jameson West, Gene Rich, and Colin Sapien. They're going to be the head coaches for those individual teams. They're going to prep them to get ready for IT Nation Connect, where they will be the Shark Tank, where they are going to present live on stage with other judges like Jay McBain, Allison Francis, and Juan Fernandez that are all going to judge on we already have the categories, we already have the questions, but whoever wins this whole thing gets $70,000. Second place is $30,000, and third place, they got a good trip to Orlando and a free booth. That's basically it. But there's a lot of content. There's a lot of things happening, but also something else that's really cool about this is exactly what you and I are doing here with them, which is the brand awareness campaign, more or less, getting them used to speaking to the people out there in the world, in our space, along with getting people to recognize them. So it's kind of a big deal.
And that's why we do it live.
Yes, that's why we do it live. This is their second round of doing this, though. First was with Adam Walensky from ConnectWise Boss, also Sierra Pacific Group, and a slew of other things he does. So they got to do one-on-ones, but this is different this time. We're bringing 2 on at a time, treating like a panel discussion. Going to get to know about them and their skill sets, and we can actually before you came on, even we were in a green room talking, and like Walter kind of was already, shots were fired. So we're going to see how that works out, because I think he wants to battle. But enough of that. I'm ready to get rolling when you are. Take it off us.
Bring him on.
Yes.
All right.
So I'll introduce. You click the button. How about that?
Right.
So we'll bring on our first 2 ever in the inaugural episode for Business Technicality PitchIT. Steve and you from Adaptive Catalog, and Walter Contreras from Binox MSP. Gentlemen, how are you?
Doing fantastic.
Was it a rap battle? Like what kind of Come on,
Sean's
Steve.
ready for a rap battle. I don't know what to expect.
Ooh, how about a dance off? I can maybe do that.
Ooh,
Dude, are you gonna do the robot? You're gonna do the robot, aren't you?
Maybe.
Yeah.
He's wired. He's got a wire headset. He can't move.
I think Walter's more prepared for the dance off.
I am. I got the shirt. I was trying to be more Cuban.
You got
what I mean?
Cuban? Oh, because you're Cuban, that makes it okay. I got it.
I'm not, but I'm down with everything. Like I don't know. I want to be more festive.
You know what? That's the first thing that Walter and festive are synonymous as far as I can tell so far. I mean,
Yes.
always lively, But now I feel like Steven got you beat because he looks like he's trying to be like Dr. Dre with his beats, and he's probably gonna, mix some music up.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it takes to distract and obfuscate, right?
I know Steven for almost like 10 years, maybe.
More than that. We first
more.
met, I think, in 2010, and it's already like 2022 now. So
it's crazy. Like, I had so much admiration for Steven. He's the creator of Quozel. I mean, he brought us quoting to the MSPs first. Like, these guys were so pioneer. Thank you. I'm still closing deals with that.
That's great to hear. But ever since you offered to take me out on your boat, I was sold. Every IT Nation.
We're going.
I've just been waiting.
I promised a battle, and you guys are basically dating now. That doesn't make any sense.
We are.
Yeah,
we're dating.
Did you, Steve? No, Walter said behind your back. Let me get this rolling. No. So thank you, gentlemen, for being on and taking time, and also and being flexible with us when we changed over from the original venue to this. So let's get into some things here. So the goal for this is, we want people to start understanding what you guys do, of course, who you are, get some exposure, but understand that you also have a discipline in this too, right? You guys have experience in it. And when, like, anytime I go to a conference, I'm sitting in a panel discussion, I'm part of one or watching one. It really comes down to how people talk about, do they actually really do it? Were they a practitioner? Because we have a lot of people in the space that speak in hyperbole. We know that. But we want people to start to understand what you do and trust you guys, know what you're talking about. And Walter kind of started off really good for you, Steve, but like, you're the king of Quozel. And, so let's talk about some backgrounds here. And let's start with Steven, since he already talked about you a lot. So let's just talk about where you're from, what you've done, man.
Yeah, as Walter said, I was co-founder at Quozel, which became Connect by Cell after it was acquired in 2016. So I have a lot of experience in the quote and proposal space, especially on the MSP side, as before that I worked in a value-added reseller / MSP role in the point of sale systems. And so sales acceleration is really kind of my background, but I grew up in technology and I just love everything to do with tech. And so that's what I'm working on. And do you want to hear about my new role, or we saving?
Well, no. Okay. Don't get too in depth, but let's just high level what you're doing now.
Super high level. We are product search for MSPs. We help make it really easy, especially during the current supply chain issues crunch, to find the products that you need to sell from your major distributors, your Ingram Micros, your TD SYNNEXes, and get all the data you need to be able to sell to your customer.
Perfect. So, and a quick question just to follow up on that, even when your process through the journey of doing this all, because like Walter said, Quozel was a game changer for MSPs, and you mentioned sales acceleration. What made that such a key topic for you to start to focus on?
I think for me, it all really started from working in the VAR and MSP space and realizing that we were wasting so much time tinkering with spreadsheets and like trying to copy Word documents all over the place. A lot of times we wouldn't necessarily lose sales, but we certainly left stuff on the table because we'd sit back and we'd be like, oh gosh, we have to send out another quote to this customer. And, they'd added requests here and there. And so without an easy way to automate that, we were always struggling, really. The sales process was, I think, what was holding us back. And so we said, hey, what can we do to look at automation around this, to really improve our processes so that this is not the bottleneck. The bottleneck really should be just the ability and want of being able to go out, get more customers, help them with their IT needs, not sort of this mundane stuff.
Absolutely. Well, it can be quite the time suck too, just pulling together, because it's not like the customer wants a lot of things, but they're not all in one place. They're in several places. So
that's it. Well, that's exactly it. So this is a great segue over to Walter, because this is when we're talking about sales enablement at large, right? And actually Walter and what he does, and I'll let you talk for yourself, but is a focus on that. So let's talk about you, Walter. Where's your beginnings, and journey and how the hell did you get here?
I literally crossed the border. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Thank you.
Literally.
I knew it.
So so I was not born in the U.S. I am now proudly an American citizen, but I was not born here, and so
Congrats.
thank you. And I actually, I was very blessed because I was always focused in technology. I love tech. I love what Tom does with his channel, by the way, because
thank you.
he's so deep into tech. But I realized, even from the journey with Steven, I remember working with him at night sometime, like going through quotes 12 years ago. It was the early beginnings of the transformation growing from a tech into a salesperson. And that is the most difficult challenge, I believe, for most MSPs. So my journey, my purpose in life is to provide a method in which MSPs can go from engineers to, doing a lot of the sales process. So, and that's what Binax is about. It's a tool, yes, of course, it's a great tool, actually, lots of tech, but we really are combining the best of all the systems that we've seen out there. And I was asking Steven early about Quozo because we're literally building quoting directly into ConnectWise Sell from the application. So, bringing everything together for an MSP, I believe that we're going to be a game changer for those that are kind of crippled with the idea that I can't do sales or I'm too shy to do sales, but they're always closing tickets and following up on tickets. So I figured that if we change the mindset, a lot of people are going to become better salespeople.
I would agree. I think, well, sometimes you can't make somebody a salesperson. We know that. We try.
Sure.
I've been. Disclaimer. You're looking at Tom Lawrence. Meet Tom Lawrence. Tom Lawrence can create relationships with anybody. Everybody loves him because he's a genuinely nice guy and he genuinely wants to help. But even Tom he brought in a friend of his that does his stuff for him. This guy was retired and just was like, I don't care if I make money. So it was a perfect marriage for the two of them.
I wish he completely didn't care about that, but yes.
Well, he said it, and so he was BSing because he's a sales guy. But anyway,
he's a sales guy. He sold me on it. Next thing you know, I'm paying him a lot of money.
Exactly. But that's the truth, right? So like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. There's a concept there. But to take away as many variables as like you mentioned, and what you both said is acceleration of sales. If you can figure out how to accelerate the conversation and sale, you win, right?
Don't underestimate yourself, Tom. There's three kinds of sales, right? There's sales to your customers, and maybe you're not really wanting to do that, but there's also sales to your employees and sales to your investors / stakeholders. And clearly you got someone aboard who probably didn't even care to be working anymore. And so you had some kind of sales talent in order to do that, to say, hey, look, this is my vision for what I want to do. And you would make the perfect piece for that. So just keep in mind, sales, we're constantly selling, whether we believe it or not.
Yeah, I do convince 7 people to keep showing up to work.
Exactly.
But it's interesting because if you look at the typical MSP under $1 million, right? The number one, and I've been interviewing, I think we see like about 7 or 8 per day on our demos. And so every time we talk to them, it's the same thing. Like, so how do you get your leads? What do you do for sales? How many leads you get per month? How many deals you close per quarter? And it's always the same question. The same answer comes. It's like, I think 2 or maybe 5. And there's such a difference there. And you start to peel the onion and you realize that there's no game in there. There's no planning in there. And so what we're looking to do is to give them a step-by-step process that they can follow and maybe not be the best salesperson, but at least get closer to the deal where you're having these conversations with people. And I will tell you one more thing. Text, whether we like it or not, some of us are introverts, whatever, but I'm telling you, we're fixing computers, right? We're helping people. We have a purpose. We didn't go into this business for money. I'm telling you, I'm an MSP still in New York. When we start, we don't go in it for money. So it's about helping other people. And I think if they realize that the sales process gets them closer to helping more people, and that's, I think, where Steven helped a lot with Quozo.
Don't undersell yourself, Walter. You've got like an entire building locked down. Like they all go through you for their tech services. That's pretty impressive in my book.
Yeah, but that was what 15 years later. I'm saying, like, when people start, I think that's the challenge. Like, how do you get started?
Hold on. 15 years later, let's talk about that for a second, right? Because let's go back to how many leads did you generate? I don't know, 2 maybe. How many deals you get? I don't know. Because the conversation and across the board, if you ask an MSP, you say, how much growth are you going to do this year? They always say like the magic number is like 30%.
Sure.
It's amazing. Wherever that 30% came from, I'm really curious. Because then you ask them what you do last year, 5%, 5%, if they even know. Let's be honest.
Sure.
Sometimes they don't even know. So then you say, how are you going to get 30%? And they say, we just are, right? So two things that stand out what you just said, and this is something to probably share with everyone, is how do you take this? How do you start to grow leads? How do you track what you do? What KPIs should you use, right? And on top of that, 15 years later, you finally have a whole building, right? Which took you, it's nurturing. So let's talk, if you don't mind sharing.
I had a rant yesterday.
But I want to comment one thing that's really important, and because we've talked about this with other interviews, is one of the reasons MSPs grow through acquisition is because they can't figure out this process because they can't find the right tools for it. They're not quantifying it. So they're like, how are you going to grow? I'm going to buy that guy. That's like the general M&A is what's going on right now. And I think these processes are important because I have a feeling if you get the process right, it's probably less expensive than that large outlay of cash to try to purchase to build a good sales system that has a process, that has things and steps people can follow. So there's a lot of value in understanding the process. It's just hard to get there.
Agreed. And both of these guys, by the way, their companies represent the actual process for sales enablement. So it's kind of spot on what you do. So, okay. So Walter, some tips from you.
So the rant I had yesterday was the crippling, right? Because there's I was so mad. So my thing is always action, right? Because what cripples us is the fact that we start thinking about so many things that we need to have in place to do X, right? So we'll say, oh, when my website is done, I'll send the emails. And when the email, my HTML5 with this graphics, like it's got to move when a person gets it, then I'll make the call. And then when I get the dialer set up, that's when I'm going to automate all my calls from my whatever. That's never going to happen. Just pick up the phone, right? I mean, yes, you have to find your ideal client profile. And I always tell people, look, the best thing that ever happened to me in my MSP was to change from serving everybody to serving one industry. I'm not saying change that because when you're starting, you want anybody that has blood in them, right? So you just want anybody.
Or you do friends and family, right? Or you do friends and family sale too. And if 5 of your cousins all own different businesses, you're going to work with them. And then hopefully one of them kicks off to introduce you to other friends, right? So back to friends and family. So, okay, Stephen, and to you without a rant, because Walter loves to rant.
Well, I don't have an exact rant, but I do sympathize with Walter there. We have a lot of tools in place. Everyone says they have a CRM, they have their PSA, they have their RMMs and so on. But I feel like a lot of folks end up using those tools kind of following what's in there and filling out a ticket or filling out an opportunity without really thinking about why they're doing that or what the process is. And I think that a large part of sales acceleration, sales enablement, is really understanding what are you trying to accomplish. Well, in any business, you first want to get to product market fit, offer something that your customer is currently unable to do or do very well, and that they're willing to pay for. Once you have that, then it's a matter of getting the right marketing in front of the right folks to get them into your sales pipeline, and then following that sales pipeline. There's a lot of customers that you can't just be like, oh, I sent a quote, I'm done. It's a matter of getting your drip email campaigns. It's a matter of making sure that you're following through, that when you send the quote, you ask them if they have questions, you follow up, you annoy them, you call them to the point where they know that you are here, you're able to help them. Because let's be honest, all of us have day jobs, I'll call them, other things that we're doing. We're not here just to go buy your services or buy your software or whatever else. And so a large part of what I think Walter is going to be able to help people do is if you're able to say, hey, look, this is the next step. You absolutely need to follow up within 2 days. You need to, even if they say no right now, you need to make sure that they don't just fall off, that you have a kind of maybe monthly cadence where you check in, see how they're doing, because that's the only way that you're going to really be able to build repeat business, as I call it.
Totally agree. So, okay. So you talked about marketing and you dabbled into sales too a little bit. So the thing that a lot of people ask, how do we package? How do we price? That's a big common conversation you see everywhere is what's my worth essentially, right? So how does one do that? We'll start with you.
I'll tell you how we did it. I did start working with a business coach about 5 years ago, and it was the most amazing experience for me, because I remember when, I will explain these business models that I wanted to do, and I had this world conquering idea, blah blah blah, right? We all have. And I remember him sitting there and saying to me, yeah, that's great, but what's your purpose, right? What's your purpose with this thing? And I remember getting mad and telling my wife, I don't know why I pay this guy so much money. He's asking me about this bullshit, purpose. And but a week later, I realized that everything in life has a purpose. So let me explain the pricing model for me. So I go to my MSP and I say, okay, Walter, what do you want to do with these guys? First, I want to make sure that they're in compliance with the law. So in the state of New York, we have very aggressive cybersecurity laws. And I want to make sure that they're covered 24/7. I want to make sure that they have all these tools, and I want them to have one price per user, right? I'll never tell them if you have 2 or 5 computers, I don't really care, right? So it was easy. And the second thing was, and I want to be above 60% margin on everything.
Yep.
So it made it so much clearer to me, because if I have a guy that says to me, no, Walter, we're not paying you $229 per user, I walk away. But I could do that because I have enough leads. I have enough in my pipeline that I can support that.
Yep. Yeah, because desperation's what kicks your ass.
Sure.
Sorry. Tom, I cussed. Sorry, dude. Sorry.
We're not monetized anyways.
We weren't going to monetize from the beginning.
I don't think you're ever going to get monetized.
It was us. It was.
Okay. So, and actually, this is a good, before we go to you, Stephen. So Tom and I, on all our interviews, we always ask a question, and you kind of just mentioned this. We always ask the person we're interviewing, what is their currency? And you kind of just start talking about like how you determine your pricing. So what is your currency for what you do and why you do it?
Well, when you mean currency, like
your value, what do you value? Because everybody does something for a reason, right? Some people
Sure.
want to be triathletes, not me. Some people want to be on Forbes magazine, maybe me if it comes with a really cool house and stuff like that. Some people want to be like world givers, What's your currency? What's the value of everything for you?
For me it was easy, because coming to the United States and having gotten opportunities that I will have never dreamed of by people who were always so kind to me, is the easiest payback, right? So I'm paying it forward every time. I had a guy yesterday that I interviewed. I won't tell you the name for privacy, but he's been in the business for 30 years as an MSP. And just yesterday, I said things to him that the light bulb went off. He started hiring an appointment setter today. And I know he's going to be making outbound calls very soon and get a lot of deals. But 30 years in the business, man, so for me, that moment has no price.
Right.
I don't do it for that. I don't do it for the money.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate that. All right, Steve, and on to you, talking about value, how much it costs, how do you price things out? Especially you, if anybody, should be the expert of all this.
Do I need to put on my MBA hat for you?
Yes, you should. And it should have like the abbreviation of QOZL and adaptive catalog, as far as I'm concerned. This is like such a layup for you, dude. You're welcome. Here's a softball.
Yeah, thank you. You do like to serve me softballs. I will say this. A lot of MSPs I talk to, I ask them about how they do their pricing. And they stick a finger in their mouth and they go, I think that this customer is willing to pay this much. And that's it. That's it's a good first step, but there's little more.
It's a horrible first step.
There's a little more you can do.
Step.
Yeah.
That's not how that works, Tom. It's not a step.
Okay.
That's like there's a cliff. You don't step off the cliff. You know, like, oh, it's a step. It's not positive. It's not a good thing.
Well, so I always like to think about things not in terms of, cost plus or whatever, but rather value. What value do you bring to your customer? And I'll use myself as an example because I'm me. I know what value I bring. So when I was at Quozal, we could definitely say, hey, look, this is what's still slowing you down. We know that you're turning around your quotes maybe in a couple of days rather than in a couple of hours. That translates into X percentage of slowdown. This is how much time you waste of your salespeople's time that they're not getting back. And this is how many deals you lose. We can actually see that because in Order Porter, sometimes we can see where people didn't visit or visited only a few times because it took too long, whatever else. And so you can get a really good approximation of the value that the software creates. The same way with Adaptive Catalog right now. I think I told you before, Adaptive Catalog is my mea culpa tour because I introduced Etalize to the MSP community, which was never meant for MSPs. It was meant for large e-commerce websites. And so their search, being as slow as it is now stuck in everything, not just Sell, but Zomentum, the QuoteWorks, all of the quoting tools decided to use it. But it is just super slow. And you have to hit like next 50 products, especially right now where, there's only a couple of products that are available. And if you're searching through 16,000 of them, you can be hitting next quite a few times. So
talk about velocity or lack thereof. I mean,
lack thereof.
It's like looking at the Sears and Roebuck catalog from the 80s.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not afraid to say, we made a mistake there, or I made a mistake there. So what can we do to speed that up? Well, a lot of the things that we do make it faster, right? We have all the data up front. We feed you the results right away. We only show in-stock items. And so I can say, look, by doing this, each time you do a quote, I save your salespeople something like 10 minutes of searching on even a simple quote. Well, that adds up over a month. That's probably a good 10, 20 hours. You know how much you pay your salespeople. We're going to capture some amount of that value. And that is really up to you as an MSP or business owner to say, what am I in this for? Am I trying to maximize my own amount that I get? Or do I just want to help my customers, but make a reasonable living? And so that percentage is up to you to decide. But if you can say, look, I save you at least $1,000 a month, and I want to capture 10% of that, that's a good way to say, you know what, I'm going to charge you $100 a user a month. And being able to explain that value prop to your customer, they'll get it. They'll get it much more than if you just say, hey, pay me $220 a user. Oh, why? Because I said, because I wear really nice shirts. I'm from Cuba. I live in New York, and I'm going to dance. I have this building on lockdown. You got to go with me.
You got no choice. I'm the godfather of technology here.
I'll make you an offer you can't resist.
Yeah, kiss my ring and not pay me $220.
That's a great point, though. That's a great point, Stephen.
It is a great point. But I have one question on exactly what you said that you both can answer too, because this is going to be something that will be the defense of this, right? The rebuke from everybody. Let's use cybersecurity as an example, right? Everybody wants to sell cybersecurity. We know what it costs. You know what you want to make over it. How do you build value in something that may or may not have happened to somebody they don't see? Because unless something's happened to them, like you said, nobody's really shopping for MSPs. Nobody wakes up on Sunday morning and says, hey, kids, let's go window shop for an MSP because they don't know what it is in the first place, right? So there's no industry standard across the board that you can look at because it is subjective to your locality for pricing in a way. And also it's variable based off of how people approach it. Like Tom does not sell in a way that other MSPs sell. He and I have had this conversation a million times. So how do you build value on the unknown? It's like Bigfoot is there. I assure you, give me a grant to go find them. Right.
It's, I can tell you that it's not just value, but it's also perceived value.
Correct.
Right. And so I can tell you right now, we sell hundreds of thousands of cybersecurity, but I don't sell cybersecurity. I don't lead with cybersecurity. Right. And
Yep.
so, because in the end, I think smaller business, we only go about 25 to 200 people, right? Anything beyond that, we're not looking for them.
Sure.
But you know, when we think about our customer, we say to ourselves, well, they know they're at the verge of getting hacked. We show them actually doing the assessments, and then we say, but they're not gonna buy if we just scare them and tell them, oh, look, you're gonna get breached. And a lot of us lead with that, and that's not enough value for somebody because they have yet to get breached, right? So the idea is to bring them from something that they don't even know they have a problem with, right? A latent or a need that they have no idea about, into something that's very active to them, that's happening right now. And the way we do that is doing a risk assessment. And we do it with everybody, right?
Sure.
I have a 3-step process. I call it the interview, the assessment, and the readout. And on the interview, I'm basically just trying to figure out if I even want to do business with these guys, right? Like, you know, do they fit the profile? Do they, you know, are they the right amount of users? All of that. And in the assessment, we make it so simple that there's no resistance. Who doesn't want to know, right, your numbers in terms of like what's the issue that you could potentially have? So making it easier is probably one of the things for us.
Absolutely.
So this is where I get into the rap battle.
It is happening.
Good. It's about time. It's about
I think
I'm
that
shady.
there is a way to actually not only show value, but to make that cybersecurity sale. And the way you approach it, or at least for me, is not necessarily to say, hey, this hasn't ever happened to you, but it's going to happen, which is actually true. Everybody's going to get hacked eventually.
Yes.
Rather, it's more of what happens after, right? So this is the insurance model. It's not that you necessarily think this will happen to me. It's more of, and I'll just give this example. Kaseya was hacked. What happened right after that? Well, Huntress stepped in and they said, we're going to take care of you no matter what. This is a third-party security company. And they did.
We're all aware, Stephen, who they are at this point.
Okay, I've just...
The audience watching this knows exactly who everybody is.
Okay, yeah, I was trying to make sure that I fully explained this. So they spent countless hours, resources, and so on, helping these folks. And I don't want to pick on Kaseya because I know ConnectWise and
keep going. I'm kidding.
Yes.
No.
But that's what I was saying.
No, we don't even do that either.
No. Autotask, ConnectWise.
No, because it all comes back around.
Yeah, it'll come back around. So there's always someone that's going to click on that cat GIF inside these companies, and next thing you know, that's their breach. So anyway, what I was saying is, if you are able to reassure them that something bad is potentially going to happen, but even if it does happen, we will be able to take care of you. We will have backups in place. We will be able to get your data. It is safe and secure. There's a lot of value in that reassurance, not necessarily value in as in like, hey, I'm protecting you from this kind of loss. Value in that no matter what catastrophic thing happens, you still have a business. You as an MSP, in the Kaseya example, will continue to exist and be able to service your customers because someone had your back. Selling them that insurance is the way to show value.
So you're selling them. Yeah, I agree. I totally understand the insurance piece. I've actually talked about it that way too. But you're almost selling them business performance and maintaining their steady course, right? That's what you're doing, because they don't, especially when COVID took place, right? Everybody started working from home, and all these regular mom and pop shops that aren't technology companies were like, how do we do, even big companies, how do we do this? Matter of fact, Walter, in your neighborhood, there's a guy that I know that's an MSP, not too far from you. He created work from home kits. His brother had a warehouse and he did AV stuff. So they had all these cameras and all these mics. And so he literally, he bought a bunch of green screens. He sold a kit with the mic, the webcam, the green screen, and lighting. And he was charging like an astronomical amount of money that he would come in and set up all the software, securities, everything, plug them all, get the lighting right. Like he did it for, he brought in about individual, people that paid for this, and this was everybody from people that actually working for companies, and people are just like, well, I just want to, like, when I'm on Zoom with my friends, like everybody. He ended up having about 250 people that paid about $5,000 a hit to do that. Yeah, well, he was like, it's COVID, we're scared, it's hazmat time. Like that's,
and
he was like, that's
money,
serious.
so
Yeah, but that just goes to show you that, like, if you position this as the right MSP, and back to the insurance element of it, you're keeping them in production, and nobody knows how to do it. And MSPs, that's your job. That's your first responsibility, is to keep your clients running.
Yeah, and I'm sorry.
It's sell them on the business continuity more than anything else. Because like you said, it's the plan for what happens after. I don't have insurance on my car because I like my insurance guy that much. I like it because if someone comes around and runs into it, I will get another car. That is continuity, so I can continue my job. And it's kind of sold the same way of, we're going to put a plan, and every now and then, this is where you build confidence for your client. You're going to table talk through that plan to make sure it works internally, so everyone understands, like, what happens if you can't get to this server. What are we going to do? What are the steps? How long is it going to take you to recover? And that's a level of planning. So it's, and it's kind of interactive with the client, is how we pitch it and sell it ourselves too.
Yeah, I think I told Sean last interview that we haven't sold a server in 5 years, and we are so deep into Azure AVD and virtualization and stuff like that, because it allows you to, one, go to other territories, right? So now you can serve people everywhere. And the other thing is the recovery time is so much faster, even if you did have an issue, right? So it's a big future.
Until Azure gets hacked, like AWS got hacked. I mean, sorry, my biggest
rain. Thanks for the bad weather, Steven.
My biggest spiel is, like, us IT guys, we stay in business because
until the sky
every
falls.
5 years. Yeah,
until
every 5 years.
Everybody.
We're all gonna die, Steven.
Eventually. Oh my God.
And it's worth mentioning, Google had, and so did several data centers, all are suffering major outages right now in Europe. The cloud is on fire because it's 40 degrees centigrade.
Literally
on fire.
Literally,
it is on fire.
It's just fine.
I was talking to Dan Scott over in the UK, and he goes, none of us have air conditioners in our houses. Nobody in the UK has them. I'm like,
that's
why?
insane.
It's 100 degrees there yesterday.
Yeah.
I was like, do you have basements at least? Nope.
Oh my goodness.
Godspeed. Enjoy. Yeah. How? I'm like, dude, go get a cold shower like every 45 minutes. Maybe.
I'm in Seattle and we have air conditioning.
Right. Right.
Oh my goodness.
It doesn't make any sense. But yeah. So the sky is falling, or the Smurf is smurfing, however you want to call it. And you should probably have one of your signs walking around with it too, talking about the end of the world.
As I
said,
said,
because he's in Seattle, man. He needs to come out to the East Coast. He needs to come out here. Steven, come out to Long Island, New York. Take you out on my boat.
So let's.
I'm going to take you up on that.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, we're all invited, I heard. So good. Yes. It's a PitchIT party. Can't wait.
PitchIT party, baby.
Yes. All right. So let's take a little more, because we're going to try to end this around like the 3:50 mark at the latest. Okay. So 10 minutes we got about. So coming back around, and you guys really didn't get much into the rap battle, so that's a little disappointing, but that's okay. We'll work on that for future. What would actually, I'm gonna do it right now. Forget it. So we're gonna do that now. Okay, so
let it go, Sean.
It's okay. So it comes back to the chicken or the egg concept, right? If I look at your two technologies, your two companies, which came first? Which should come first? Should it be a sales enablement platform, helps with marketing, building leads, or should it be the ability to logistically and fit really fastly find search things to build quotes? What comes first and why? We'll start with you, Walter.
Look, it's all about the leads. I hate to say that, but it's all about the leads. So, we started as a lead generation tool. First went to the MSPs only with human verified leads, right? And so, but if you have a lead, even if it wasn't the perfect thing, because everybody's looking for the perfect data, it doesn't exist. But even if you had 80%, 90% of the information, that is a lead that you can go after. You can do some very basic email marketing campaigns. I think you could download a template from almost every MSP vendor, Datto, Kaseya. Everyone has these marketplaces for free marketing tools where you could do a couple of emails to the person, make a couple of phone. Again, where are you crippled is the question, right? Because I always ask MSPs, they tell me, Walter, I'm so busy, I can't. I said, can you make 10 phone calls in the morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.? And they said, no, I can't. I'm like, yes, you can, right? And if you make those 10 phone calls consistently for the next month, I am guaranteeing you, if you have the right info, you're going to get somebody to say, yes, come into my office, or let's do a Zoom. But we don't do that. So the leads to me is the most important thing.
Okay. Well, I don't know,
Wow,
Steven.
I almost feel like I need to switch that around. I mean, I
Come
would
to the
could
lead,
just agree with
Steven.
Walter, and then we wouldn't have 10 minutes of our lives back. So, all right, so let me play devil's advocate a little bit here. As an MSP, what are you selling? You're selling a couple of things. You're selling products, obviously, something that you're managing. You're selling your services, and you're selling one last thing, which is you are selling the I am your IT person. I am your trusted technical advisor. So those are kind of and the last thing is really probably the most important is this trust, because it ties into cybersecurity, it ties into BDR, it ties into I'm going to take care of you, right? And so again, the devil's advocate here, I see plenty of leads. You can get them from trade shows, you get them from your local chamber of commerce, and as you go through, without having a really good product, that product market fit, it doesn't matter how many leads you have. You really need to be able to say to each of your leads, I am your trusted tech advisor. I will take care of you. And so the ways to do that, and I'm not just going to pitch that product search is the only way to do that. There's many other pieces, including one, having this kind of knowledge that you've built, however you built it, whether it's through school or School of Hard Knocks or whatever else. All of those things combine together to really present yourself and your company as reliable, as trusted, as someone who can take care of these businesses that need the IT help. And so I would argue that having a lot of leads doesn't really matter. Having a really good marketing and sales process doesn't really matter without actually being able to fulfill that, being able to have the right products, the right services, having happy customers that will refer others, because word of mouth ultimately will build you more leads, I think, than most other ways of getting mailing lists. And I'm not saying that Binox is a mailing list, but having the human connection that says, hey, I use Walter, and my building rocks, so you should use Walter as well. You can't buy that. That's gold. So just something to keep in mind.
So it sounds like, according to Walter, it's about the top of the funnel. According to you, it's what you do with the funnel.
I'd agree with that.
Is that a fair assessment?
It's definitely. Look, Steven has a really great point. Like, you can't start to.
Don't start being friends now. I already set this up. Don't start this, Walter.
No, but think about it.
Don't start saying Steven's awesome. He's so smart.
He is awesome. Wait, I started saying that. That's how I started.
That's why I'm stopping you.
Sean was trying to drive a wedge here.
I don't understand what you're not understanding about what this is for here.
It's like starting a lemonade without having lemons, right? Lemonade stand without having lemons. So you do have to show up for that, and hopefully you're ready. You've done enough work to get there. And that's the maturity that I was telling you with MSPs. Like, which maturity level are they? Where some people, I can give them 1,000 leads, they're not gonna do anything with it, right? If they don't have a process to hold their hand throughout it, right? So, and that's the mission we have, is not just to give you leads, but to actually, this is the next step, this is the next step, and here's how you quote it, and here's how you do it, and here's how you close it.
Makes sense. I don't disagree with either. I think both have value. I think the first problem I typically see is people don't even have a process for any of the above, generating leads, nor what to do with them. Because what do you do? Yeah, I can go buy a list of leads. So I'll be devil's advocate against Steven, since you aren't, Walter. I can go buy a list of leads, but do what with them? I can go to a show and do what? Right? What did I do while I was there even? Yeah, I might have got some leads, but did they know who I was? Did I generate them the right way? Did I just buy them? If I bought them, what am I doing now? They're worthless. So I would probably add on to even, Walter, your point of saying leads are very invaluable, but it's more so how did you obtain the leads?
Sure. I mean, I told my team that the first few shows we did with Binox, we were like everybody else collecting leads. And then by show 3, I was like, what am I going to do with these leads? Like, I can get them on one click in Binox. Like, I don't need more MSPs. I already had the list. So we started to collect only appointments. So we will only take people who will be serious enough to actually do a demo for our platform. And now we're moving to, if you don't want to do it, we're only doing people who are willing to try the app. If they're not, we don't need the lead, because the lead at the end, like, what do you do with that? Hundreds of vendors I spoke to, they're like, yeah, we're collecting hundreds of leads, but we go back to the shop and start calling everybody, but no one converts. It's about the conversion.
I would agree with that, but I also agree with making sure you have your operations sound too with the process.
So basically, you have to do it all.
Yeah,
the joys of running a business.
You do. You're right. Along with clean out the toilet too, because you run your own business and you can't hire a custodian.
Yeah. And it was something worth mentioning too, that Stephen had touched on earlier, especially talking about how you manage the catalog. How many times have we've heard employees or salespeople groan, oh, you know how long it takes me to do the quote, or how inefficient it is too? Because that it's just not just 10 minutes. There's when you hit that wall of doing that, you suddenly lose a little bit of that enthusiasm. Every 3 times you clicked of a product being out, the sales guy goes, how much do I want to quote this? Because man, I'm watching the thing spin. I'm clicking on stuff that's not in stock. There's a lot to say that the whole process should be good for all parties involved. We want to be able to get to the client fast. We don't want a salesperson who's exhausted by the time he does one quote and aggravated, because there's an aggravation level you get. Sean probably pulled all his hair out working with a system that was terrible at one time. That's
is that right? I mean, I don't know, Sean. That was a direct.
Some tough sales systems, right?
I was about to throw some out there, which would be inappropriate, so that's fine.
That was a direct.
Yeah, like we're wrong people, Tom. It's them fighting, not us.
Oh, okay.
Tom, interesting point. When we built Binox, like the sales enablement tool, we wanted to build SMS texting, phone calls, emails, Vmail, everything in one place, because the salesperson gets so tired of following up on the same damn deal, right? Mm-hmm. That what about if I had a guy that I couldn't get him on the phone, man, just couldn't get him on the phone. So I texted him and I said, hey, what's up with the quote? I sent it to you 2 weeks ago. He approved it within 5 minutes. So that showed me like there are many ways to follow up on something, especially today when I can tell you, Stephen invented when you click on it, you get an email to tell you that they opened it, right? The next generation of that is algorithms telling you that this person has a huge intent to buy from you. And which ones do you prioritize when you log into the morning to your tool to take action first? That's the biggest problem. It's not like a service board, right? Like you see all the tickets coming in and you're like, oh, I'm going to do that one. The firewall shut down. I'll do those. In the sales process, we don't have that kind of tooling. And so that's what we built.
One other thing I'll add to that is, you really want to keep down this employee burnout, because then they'll move on to greener pastures. And I will also say that any of the tools, all of the PitchIT ones, should deeply, deeply integrate with ConnectWise, since I assume most folks watching this and watching PitchIT will be using ConnectWise. The salespeople don't want to learn yet another tool. If you are not so deeply integrated that you can just click a button, do your thing, and then it automatically fills in everything you need. So with Binox, making sure the leads flow to the opportunities, making sure all the contact information is up to date within ConnectWise. If it's not in ConnectWise, it didn't happen, something like that. Is that still the catchphrase?
That's in Salesforce also. That's anything that collects data. If it's not in there, it didn't happen. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, and so for the vendors to the MSPs, my advice is make sure that anywhere you can jam your fingers in that makes sense, do it. Make it so that they appear to just be using ConnectWise. Make it so seamless that they don't even know that they've popped out somewhere else, and then make it go back seamlessly as well. That's really the key to long-term adoption.
Agreed. I totally agree. So we have one last question. It's the most important question that Tom loves. I do it on all my interviews. And I'm even going to put I even created a banner here. We want to know what your love languages are.
Oh,
I like the banner.
Right? Hell yeah. So let's talk about your love language. Walter, you're Cuban. You love to love. It's in your blood.
I am Hispanic. I'm not Cuban though, although I love Cuban food.
I thought you said you're from whatever. Okay,
but it doesn't matter. Look at my shirt, man. Like I blend anywhere I go.
That's not a word of affirmation here for Walter. Come on, let's.
I'm sorry. Yes. So what is your Walter's trying to read the banner. He can't keep up.
I can't even speak English, man. Like I just learned this.
Okay, so language 1 is words of affirmation. 2, acts of service. 3, receiving gifts. 4, quality time, and 5 is physical touch.
So what's the question?
Which one? He's like all of the above. That's exactly what he's doing. He's like, which one is yours? Which one do you identify the most with?
I think I was just telling my 10-year-old this morning, like we need to be extremely careful how we speak to ourselves, because we can say things to ourselves that are really, really harsh. And so words of affirmations will be for me.
Perfect.
Yeah. Mine is physical touch. So COVID is I just want to, this year when I come to IT Nation, I want to make sure I get a good hug.
You're going to get a suit? I think we're going to get a space suit.
You, Walter.
You should,
and if you're there as well,
wear
Tom.
a shirt that says free hugs. Like seriously. Seriously. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
My wife is words of affirmation, so a lot of times we come into a little bit of conflict. So.
Yes, because you want to be hugged, and she wants you to tell her she's awesome and she has good hair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're like,
my wife is words of affirmation, and Sean knows I don't care much for physical touch, so he hugs me a lot.
No.
Every time he sees me, thank my wife for letting him know.
It's not even like a hug; it's an actual embrace.
Oh, he bear hugs me.
Yeah, like bear hug. Just I try to squeeze him.
Pick him up. George is my friend, though. I love him, hug him, squeeze him. That's yes. That's exactly it. And like it's best when his wife is there because she stands back and makes room. Like it's like the movie 3 O'clock High, and they made all the room out of the way to fight. She's like, "Watch out, here it comes!" And it's like
she's like, "He's over there."
Hug him, Sean. And you can see Tom's face. It's already. I said the other day we were talking. I was like, he does the.
Oh no.
Like he doesn't want to really accept that he's doing it. So, all right. Any final words? Start with you, Stephen, that you'd like to say.
I just want to say, Walter, you've been awesome. I think that you've got the sales acceleration thing down cold, and I actually want some of your help with we're going to make Binox work for us, I think.
And by cold, he means it really isn't working well. It's cold. It's the dead fish. Thank you, Walter.
I don't honestly like. I've spoken about Stephen with my team hundreds of times when we're in the development calls. Because what he did with Quozo to
was
all of us,
horrible, bad coding. Got it.
Awful. It's awful.
awful. So awful.
And so I'm looking forward to his new product because I think it's going to help a lot of people. And I'm going to ping you, Stephen, because I think we should integrate it inside of Binox.
Absolutely.
Oh
let's
look with the love boat.
It's just because he has a boat. I gotta get dibs on this boat.
Love it, love boat. There you go, Tom. I have nothing to say. It's on you, dude.
No, I'm good. This I like seeing this. We're watching collaboration in real time happen.
We are.
Despite Sean's best efforts, it's still people are friendly here.
Oh, this is horrible.
You can't make anybody fight, Sean. So obviously, failure. You're all
dating. I'm looking forward to seeing all of y'all in person so that I can, do number 5 to you. That's number 5 on the list of the love.
Look, Louis
just so you can see, Louis has a man crush on you. So just so you know, Stephen.
Oh man.
Thank you so much for having us on. This was
Guys,
really fun.
This is fun.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing the information. Thank you for being a good team, good sports about it. Yeah, we're all going to be seeing each other regardless at IT Nation Connect in November. All of us, actually. Everybody's coming, which is nice. We'll bring your boat, Walter.
Nice trip.
It's Orlando, man. Like, we already have boats there.
Well, okay, then get another boat. I don't care. Just put your name on it so we think it's yours. Yeah, if anybody ever wants to look into any of these guys, their companies, they're all in the ConnectWise marketplace.
Yeah.
It's the easiest way to access them. And we can put that in the chat later of where to find them in the ConnectWise world. But again, thank you all. Thank you all for watching. Tom.
Hey,
thank
this
you.
is great. I'll see you guys next time. So take
time.
care. See you two at IT Nation, but we have more interviews to do.
We'll see everybody on Friday again at 3:00.
Yeah,
So,
we'll be doing this again Friday at 3:00. So awesome. Thanks.
We'll be watching.
All right.